Mic check, screen recording, that's recording. Yo, welcome back to another episode of Cellison TV. I'm your humble and gracious host, as always, Stanford Antoine Ellison, aka Twan-E, the photographer. Now, what we're going to be talking about today is how to photograph a dancer. I'm going to show you guys the most recent image that I got, how I got it. We're gonna go through everything. We're gonna go over the story. We're gonna go over the most challenging part of how to get this image, the camera and equipment. But most importantly, we're gonna go over the settings that we use to get this image. We're gonna go over the crop, the composition, the focus of the image, meaning which focal length we're gonna use, shutter speed, ISO. Do you need to add more light? Do you need to shoot in manual? We're gonna go over everything today. Like I said, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Cellison TV. All right, let's go ahead and get right into the image, if I can pull it up. Okay, all right, guys. So this is going to be our image today that we are going to go over, and let's just take a look at the image really quick. Full screen. Boom. So this is our image today. Now, when photographing anybody, I like to okay, so this is the image that we're going to be going over today. I had the opportunity to shoot with a ballet dancer not too long ago. I think maybe just a few days ago. When photographing a ballet dancer, you really want all your images that you take to tell a story. And before I even went to the museum to take this picture, I had to get an idea of what I wanted the picture to look like and what story I wanted to tell with that image. So if you look at this image here, I mean, like I said, art is up for interpretation, but the story that I really wanted to go for was, we were at the High Museum of Art. And based off of Shorty's skill of being a ballet dancer, I wanted to capture her performing her art as a moving form of art within a controlled background, such as the art in the art museum. So I just wanted moving art within still art. And I thought that would complement each other well. So, like I said, that's the story that I wanted to go for. I wasn't sure what images I wanted to get yet. I wasn't even sure that I was going to do this silhouette shot. But, once you get to your selected area, you can make all those decisions. Now, the most challenging part about taking this photo was, it was a couple challenging things. I would say the most challenging thing was they allowed photography at the museum, but we had a security guard. I guess they thought we were taking videos at the museum just based off how my camera looks and based off how the subject was dressed. And they were just, every floor that we went to, it was a security reminding us, hey, no video, hey, no video. So the hardest part was trying to capture the image super quick. And like I said, she's a ballet dancer. She moves very quick. I'll show you guys a lot of the images that I got. So like I said, she's a ballet dancer. So what she's going to be doing is she's going to be moving throughout, the place really quickly. But it's so much movement that the security thought that we were shooting the video. So the most challenging part about this shoot was trying to avoid the security, make sure my camera settings were right on point. So when I say, okay, action, we can snap a lot of quick shots really quick before security comes and interrupts us again. I don't really like dealing with security or cops, as you guys might expect. But let's go ahead and get back into our chosen image today. That's the full screen image if you want to see. Okay, after most challenging, the camera and equipment that we used to take this image was the Canon EOS R. the RF 24-70 lens. If you know about your camera equipment, you know what that camera is, you know what that lens is. Very official. But let's go ahead and start from the beginning. So like I said, we're gonna go over everything that I go through in my head before I capture an image. And it's a lot of things that I go through in my head all simultaneously to make sure that we capture this image. But once you become good at it, it's a split second. You feel me? You think about all these things in a split second. So first, let's talk about the crop and the composition. Now, like I said, I wanted to capture art within art. So I know I wanted a composition that was not only going to show my subject, but show the background as well. But I know I wanted to focus on my subject. So as you can see here, I shot at 44 millimeters. If you, I'll make another video explaining what focal length to use and why. But if you know about focal length, you know at 50 millimeters is what you really want to shoot for a portrait. If you're shooting at 50 millimeters or higher, you're taking a portrait of somebody that you just want to focus on that subject and not what's around it. If you shoot under 50 millimeters, then you're really capturing more of the background. Like if you shoot at 24 or you shoot at 16 millimeters, you're really going to have a bigger composition. You're not focusing on one subject, you're focusing on the entire room. So I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to focus on the entire room because, the artwork, it would have brought more attention to the artwork and less attention to our subject. So what I did was I went to 50 millimeters, saw how it looked, and it looked okay, but I zoomed out to 40 millimeters because I did want to show the background somewhat, but I didn't want it to be the main subject of our image because that's going to be the dancer. So I went with 44 millimeters for the crop and the composition of this picture. That's going to bring the subject in focus. And I took a step back when I shot her at 44 millimeters because I wanted to grab the entire scene. If I wanted to, I could have took a step forward and got an image, say like this. But like I said, I wanted to capture art moving within art. So the background was extremely important too, but it wasn't the main focus of the image. So that's the first thing that I go through in my head is selecting the crop and the composition. Once I established that that's the crop and the composition that I want to get, and I said, okay, this would be a perfect spot to get a quick image. Then I had to move on to what did I want my aperture to be, or what did I want my f-stop to be? Or if you don't know what aperture and f-stop means, it's what I wanted in focus, what did I not want in focus. And from this image here, I shot at f2.8. Now, with shooting at f2.8, if you're looking at your lens, if you imagine a circle, the lower your aperture is, the bigger the lens gets, and it allows you to bring in more light, and it allows your subject to be a little more in focus than the background is. So I shot at f2.8 because I knew that I wanted my subject to be in focus, but the background is important, but it's not as important as the subject. So if we zoom in here, you can see that the subject is completely in focus. You can see her, because it was really important that I got her body shape as well, so you can see that she had the body of a dancer. But if you zoom in to, say, the outer areas, you can see it's not as in focus as our model is. So that's why you shoot at f2.8, because you want to focus on your model, and you want that blurred effect to bring more attention to her. And with this area right here being blurred, and this area right here, I mean, it's not super blurred, but it's not as in focus as the camera would allow it to be. If I would have shot at a higher f-stop, then everything would be in focus. And you wouldn't be able to tell, what's the purpose of this picture? Like, what's the subject? Am I supposed to be focused on her? Am I supposed to be focused on the pictures? Am I supposed to be focused on the lighting? But when you have a clear subject, and you have a clear story, it makes it easier for like the audience that's viewing the picture to understand it more. Because when you look at the picture and you see, okay, well, obviously I'm focusing on the subject because that's the main thing that's in focus, even though it's so subtle. And I appreciate the background that she's in because it complements the subject so well. We're going to hope that my camera's still recording. But then we want to go to the shutter speed. Now, when it comes to shutter speed, a lot of people will tell you when you're photographing a dancer to have a higher shutter speed so you can capture every movement. But since I want to go with a story that told the story of a dancer, and we have, like I said, it's a lot of different images of her, I just wanted to get a standard image. So normally if you shoot at whatever focal length you choose to shoot at, I shot at 40 millimeters. You really want to double that. And then that's going to pretty much be able to capture any image or any movement that's happening in the image. But with a dancer, it's so much movement, people want you to shoot at a higher shutter speed to capture that movement. I wanted to capture her dancing, but I still wanted the movement in the picture. Like you can see here, I still wanted the movement in the picture so that it showed the movement within the picture, that it showed that she wasn't just there and she's not serving the same purpose as the artwork on the wall is showing. You know what I mean? Her art is completely different. And for the movement to complement the stillness of the image, I wanted to just shoot at a basic shutter speed as you should and still be able to capture that movement, but still be able to see her. And when she posed, as long as we got a shutter speed that's double what our focal length is, we should be able to capture her in like this image. She was posed and she wasn't moving as much, so we were able to get her in complete focus. I shot at 40 millimeters. I shot at 1/60th of a second. Now you're moving so fast, but I would have shot it at 1/80th of a second. All right, and then next, the last thing that I always go through is the ISO. Based off the light that I have, do I want a lower ISO to get a higher quality image, or is it more important that I get everything in the picture and everything is lit correctly, so you wouldn't mind having a higher ISO? So I didn't mind having a higher ISO when I seen so much light coming in to the room. I didn't mind having a higher ISO because I didn't want the image to be too dark. If I shot at ISO 100, it would have let less light in, and we would have had a darker image, almost like that. Which, I guess doesn't look bad, but let's go back to it. So like I said, I was like, oh, okay. If I'm gonna shoot at 40 millimeters, f2.8, 1/160th of a second, let me set my ISO to where everything was in focus, where everything was lit properly as far as the background, but I didn't mind my subject being a silhouette. So I shot at ISO 640 just to make sure that we had enough light coming in. So if we were to go over this full image again, I shot at the composition that I wanted to get. I wanted to shoot her as a portrait, but I wanted to get more of the background involved. So I shot at 40 millimeters. I shot it at f2.8 just so the subject could be mainly in focus rather than the background being in focus. 1/60th of a second to capture the movement of the dancer, but not capture it to the point where we're capturing her so still that she looked like one of the images that is on the wall. I wanted to capture her movement, but I still wanted you to see the movement in the picture. In the ISO 640, we did that because we wanted to make sure that we let enough light in. And if you've watched any of my videos before, you know that the lower the ISO, the better the quality. But it's okay to give up quality to capture the moment that you want to capture. Because if the moment is better than the quality, don't be afraid. Don't give up the moment. Give up the quality. Capture the moment, because the moment is the thing that people are going to remember. And if you do all of those things and then you follow the guidelines that I provided for you today, you should be able to come up with an image just like this or just like these. We'll get to those in a second, but just like these. Like I said again, thank you for tuning in to Cellison TV. I'm Stanford Antoine Ellison, aka Twan-E the photographer. In my next video, I will discuss how to get this image edited. I'll show you the before, and then I'll show you the after. So if you want to know how I edit an image of a dancer, you're gonna have to click on the next video, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I'm at 221 subscribers right now. My goal is to get to 1,000 by the end of the year. So if you can like, comment, subscribe. If you know a photographer and he needs to improve his skill, share this video. It'll help me out a lot. Y'all come be a part of the Cellison squad. You feel me? And yeah, that's all for me today, guys. We gone. Peace.